Alright, hello everybody and welcome to TeachMeCocoa, the quick and easy way to learn iOS development. My name is Joel West and this is episode 0. Okay, so to provide you with a brief outline of what we're going to go over in this episode, I'll provide you an introduction of what this project is all about and what our goals are. I'll show you how to get the tools that you need to build an iOS application. We'll then go over a quick tour of Xcode, which is the main program you'll be using to build your programs. And then finally, we'll conclude with some additional resources that I found useful as I went through this journey, and hopefully you will find beneficial as well. So to give you a little bit of an example, I started developing iOS applications about a year ago. I spent the last summer basically teaching myself. And along the way, there were many topics that I really struggled with, and I couldn't find resources for online of how to get past. So the fundamental goal of this project is to take you from no programming experience to building your own iPhone application, and hopefully some of the topics I struggled with, I can show you how to get around and really save you a lot of time. Okay, so let's jump right in. The first thing you need to do is get Xcode, and you can do that on the Mac App Store here. And all you need to do is open that up and search for Xcode. It'll be right here, look like this. It is a large download of 4.4 gigs, so you can expect that to take a little bit of time. One thing of note is it's completely free, but it does only run on a Mac. So if you want to build iPhone applications, unfortunately, you do have to own a Mac. But if this is a topic you're interested in, you probably already own a Mac. Alright, so you need to get Xcode on your computer. The next thing you'll want to do is go to developer.apple.com, and I will have a link in the description for you. And you will want to register for a developer account with Apple. Now there are a few different options. The free version should be everything that you need. You can build applications, you can test them on the simulator, and what's new with iOS 9 is you can actually test them on real devices. So you should be able to do everything you need with the free account. Now when it comes time to actually distributing this application on the App Store and selling it or offering it as a free version, you do need to have a paid account. But that's $100 per year. Which is a pretty good deal, but you don't need to spend any money until you have your application ready to go. So head to this website, jump into the Member Center, and I'd recommend starting off with a free account. Okay, so once you have your account and Xcode downloaded, you'll go ahead and open up Xcode, and I promised you a super brief tour. So let's pop open Xcode here, and I'll show you what to do. So the first thing you'll want to do is jump into Create a New Xcode Project. And then you'll want to do a single view application. If this is not the selection you'll see, you want to make sure you're on iOS and then application and single view. All of our tutorials will center around a single view application. And then you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to call this one episode 0. And then my organization name I use is West Studios. You can do whatever you want. It can be fictitious. And then the organization identifier is traditionally reverse DNS, meaning it's com, dot, and then your organization name. Our tutorial videos will center on Objective-C. I'm in the process of building an application in Swift, and I'm learning about it, but I don't feel comfortable doing tutorial videos at this time. Hopefully that's something we'll transition into. And then devices, you want to make sure it's universal, and then we won't worry about core data or any sort of unit test or UI test, but those are topics, hopefully, of future tutorial videos. Okay, so hit next and then save wherever you want. I'm going to save mine on the desktop. And then this is what you get. Xcode does do quite a bit of work, so you get a lot of files, a lot of code already written to help you get started. So what you can actually do is start with the play button here, click that. That'll do two things. That's going to build your application, which means it turns all the code that you wrote into ones and zeros, and then it's going to install it on a device. And you can select which device that is by selecting this right here. And you can see a list of simulators here. And if you want to run this on an actual device, just plug your phone in or your iPad, and you'll see that listed right here. So go ahead and select the device you want. I did the 6S Plus simulator right here, and hit the play button, and it builds it, and it's now running our exciting empty application. Alright, so one other quick thing I want to show you is in Xcode. In the File Explorer here, this is where you see a list of the files associated with your projects. For our very first tutorial video, all we're going to do is go to the main storyboard, and you're going to see the very first view that's part of your application. And there's a tradition in programming that your first application says Hello World. So to stick with that tradition, we're going to have you go down to the side navigator here, which if that's hidden, you can click this button right here to show and hide it. And then you want to make sure the third option here is selected. And then this will pull a number of objects you can use. And we want to find label. And you can always filter it down by searching for label here. And just go ahead and drag that onto the view here. And then double click and change this text to Hello World. Alright, and we're going to do a few things here. So click on Hello World, grab the fourth tab here. This is the Properties Inspector. I'm sorry, the Attributes Inspector. And then you can go out here to where it says Font. And let's boost this up to be a little bit bigger, 25. And we have to make our label bigger to compensate. Okay, and just a couple other things. Center it. And then drag it to the middle of the screen so it's in the middle here. And click this button right here. This will let you add some constraints to it, which I'll go explain a little bit more in a future video of auto layout. But basically it lays your view out so no matter what device it is, if it's an iPad, it's a phone, it looks good. So go ahead and give it a height and a width constraint so it always stays this height and that width, and you can set those to be whatever you want. And then one other thing is go to click this icon right here, and then horizontally center and vertically center, and that'll make sure it's always in the middle of the screen. So you have it of this size, always in the middle of the screen, and then hit the build and run button here. That's going to build it. And then on your device you'll see Hello World, your first iPhone application. So that is our super brief tour of Xcode. In future videos we'll dig into that a little bit more, but for now we can go ahead and quit that and quit the simulator as well. Okay, and the next thing I wanted to show you here was a few resources that helped me along the way to learning about all this. So if you had to read one textbook, and if you're willing to read one textbook, this would be the one that I'd recommend, Programming in Objective-C 2.0. This is the first book I read. I actually read this on my own before I received an iOS development internship, and it is fantastic. It provides you an overview of the Objective-C language, as well as some practical tips for developing for iPhones. Now, if you're willing to read two textbooks, I would bypass this one and start with the Objective-C Programming by the Big Nerd Ranch. And this one will give you a really good foundation for the language itself. And then once you complete that, you can move on to iOS Programming by the same guys. And this one focuses on actually building apps that are designed for the iPhone. So you'll be able to build your views, your buttons, and it gets into core data a little bit, how to save data, and it'll walk you through some pretty cool projects. So I would recommend doing those two. And if you're actually familiar with Objective-C and you have a little bit of iPhone experience, you just want to dig a little bit deeper, this is a book that I'm reading right now, Cocoa Design Patterns. If you're familiar with software design patterns at all, this shows you some of the patterns that work best with Objective-C's dynamic nature. And it also goes over some design patterns such as like target action, archiving and unarchiving that were really built with Cocoa in mind. So Cocoa is the framework that runs a Mac. Cocoa touches iOS, but they do overlap quite a bit. And I haven't finished it yet, but I found this to be a great resource. Okay. And then finally, if reading textbooks is not your thing, another great resource is Matt Henley. This is actually the very first thing I did as I learned to develop iPhone applications, is I watched these videos where he types some code, and then you follow along and type some code to go with them, and you make this really cool Flappy Bird knockoff app. So this is a lot of fun if you're more of a hands-on learner. One thing I will caution you is you'll get to play with code quite a bit, but as you learn more about iOS apps, he does do things a little bit different and a little bit dated, especially when it comes to using instance variables versus properties and synthesizing. But if you don't want to read a textbook, this is a great place to start. Now, hopefully these tutorial videos will place a good middle. It won't be all theory like a textbook, and it won't be quite so just type exactly what I type. I hope to provide a pretty good balance. These episodes will be organized as episodes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll go over a different topic that you can follow along with and kind of show you what you need to learn. And I'll try and do one of those every week. However, if you do want to find me, I'm on Twitter at TeachMeCocoa. If you have any questions or there's a specific topic that you'd like to learn about, I will try and do one of those videos as well every week. So I'm thinking for this week, I'm probably going to do a video about my favorite tools in Xcode, and this will try and reach a little bit broader audience. So if you have some development experience, or if there's a specific topic you want to learn about, like using Git, or what tools I use, or there's a specific framework like Promise Kit that you want to learn more about, I'll try and take a deep dive into that, and if I don't already know about it, I'll learn about it, and then give you my thoughts and what I find useful. So you can always reach me at Twitter at TeachMeCocoa. Just send me a question. I'll try and be very active there. And then I have a website here, and that is ids.uni/teachmecocoa. The link will be in the description again. All my tutorial videos will be placed here, and I'll also be active on here as well. So I really want to make this blog as useful as possible for you guys. iOS development I find to be a blast, but I found that learning can be a little bit painful. So hopefully I'm reachable. Hopefully you guys have some fun with me, and we'll jump in.